Hey YouTube, this video is going to be about the day I found out I have prostate cancer. So at the end of August I had the prostate biopsy, and then the doctor told me that it would take about 2 weeks to get the results back. So for those 2 weeks I kind of sat on it and the information, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. So that was a difficult 2 weeks, just waiting to hear from the doctor. And thought occurred to me that if there's nothing wrong, why can't the doctors just call you and tell you, hey, everything's good, we're going to have you come in and we'll just go over the results, but it's all good. But they don't do that. So what you do is, first off, I had the biopsy in late August, and then 2 weeks later, September 7th is when I had my appointment. They made me the appointment to find out from the doctor what the results are going to be. For those 2 weeks, I was on pins and needles, very nervous, anxious, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. So that was a very difficult couple of weeks. So then, on September 7th, my wife and I, Jenny, we went to the appointment with the urologist, and it's very nerve-wracking when you're sitting in the waiting room waiting. And then he called us in, they called us into the waiting room. The doctor comes in and he sits down, says hello and all that, and then he's holding the test results or the biopsy results in front of him, and he looks at me and he says, well, I have good news and I have bad news. And so then I just waited a couple seconds. He says there were 3 core samples, I think he said 3 core samples that showed cancer. And I think I may have checked out right about then. I mean, I was listening. Jenny was taking notes, trying to get all the information that she could get. And he said the good news is that it's curable. Then I kind of, that wasn't enough for me to get over the word cancer. So one thing you should know, if you are that guy sitting there waiting for a cancer diagnosis, or if you don't have cancer, is that once the word cancer comes out of the doctor's mouth, it's huge and it takes over everything. It envelops every part of your life, just that one word. So he gave me the diagnosis, and quite honestly, I don't remember a lot of what he said. I'm glad Jenny took notes, because I don't remember. I started going into a little bit of a haze at that moment, and things started getting kind of fuzzy. I was there, I really wasn't there. And he gave me the treatments that were available. We could do active surveillance where you just watch it. They could freeze it. They could heat it up. They could do radiation. They could do, or they could take out the prostate. So at that point, I decided I was going to do the radiation seeds. I thought that was the best option for me, and I'll get into the treatments later in another video. So Jenny and I went out to the car, to the parking lot, and kind of sat there. And then from the moment that you get this diagnosis to, every day after that, it's just a really, it's like a shock. You're in shock. You're kind of numb. And it's really weird, because even though you've got this numbing feeling about you, because it's shock, you think of things that are just so business-like. We got in the car and we thought, and I said, we were talking back and forth, and I said, wow. And Jenny was just kind of like, doing her own thing too, and a little bit of a haze as well. And we said we got to call the kids. How are we going to call the kids? What do we do? Do we call them? Yes, we should call them. Let's wait until we get home, and I got to call work, and I got to tell my boss, and all these types of things. And then we made the phone calls that we had to make, and I was trying to be brave and put on a brave face. And then we called the kids. That was a little bit tough. And the more as the hours go by, it gets a little tougher, because it starts to sink in a little bit. And all I could hear me say, and I would look at Jenny and I would say, I have cancer. I have cancer. And it was just like, how do I have cancer? And it was just a very weird feeling. And then in the days and the weeks to follow, my mind started going 100 miles an hour. Do I have enough insurance? Is everything in place? If I have to take off work for treatment, if it gets bad, am I going to die? And what could be the outcome? What are the side effects of the treatment? How soon will I get treated? What happens if I die? And is my wife taken care of? Is everything in order that should be in order? And the things that go through your mind, it's unstoppable too, because nobody can tell you, just don't worry about it. It doesn't work like that. One of the biggest things there was when so many friends came alongside me and just supported me and said they loved me and they're with me and they're in the fight with me. That was crucial in those first few days, and then the weeks to follow. I thought, what if I can't work anymore? I'm the only person in the household that brings home income, because my wife is retired. We have things that we need to take care of that I just can't stop working. And another interesting thing, and I called my friend Jeannie about this, and I go, and every little ache and pain was cancer. I mean, there's like things that you maybe I had these little aches and pains before, but in my stomach, in my side, in my back, or whatever, because like never before, it was just amplified that everything is cancer, because it's spreading. How do I know it's not spreading? Because now the doctor, to add on to the actual stress of knowing or hearing that you have cancer, the doctor says, okay, we got to do a bone scan, and we have to do a CT scan to make sure the cancer hasn't spread. So those things didn't happen. I mean, this was September 7th that I found out. I didn't have any scans until October, early October, those two scans, and they had to be, I think, 2 weeks apart. So from September 7th until October, early October, I sat awake at night. I would wake up, with anxiety and things like that, because the scans hadn't happened. And then after I got the scans, it just amplified those feelings that, what are the scans going to show? Oh, what if there's, if the cancer got out of the prostate, or what if they find something else totally unrelated that's life-threatening because they're doing these scans? And it's a really tough time. It messes with your mind. It causes a lot of stress and anxiety, and it's a very, very, very difficult time. So that day that I found out that I had cancer was a game changer for me. In the times that follow, today is December 3rd, 2017. So from September 7th to December 3rd, there's been so much that has happened, including fighting with the insurance to get the right treatment and all these types of things. And it just really just wears on you emotionally, physically. Fortunately, I'll report this, that the scans came out perfect. There was nothing with the scans. But that, I didn't find that out till early November. This, September through October through November, before I could find out that there was nothing, the cancer didn't get out. And I'll put it, and I'll end this video with this, is that no matter how much you hear about people who have cancer and things like that, the folks that have cancer, for the most part, they'll put on a brave face and they'll, everything's cool, and they'll all act like, everything's good to go. But in reality, they're just torn up inside. They're afraid. They're scared. And it's like my wife said just recently as this week. She said, the cancer has changed you. And I said, it has changed me. She goes, yeah, you're a little more, I don't know if she said it moody, but your personality has changed a little bit, and you don't have as much patience and things like that. And so all I can suggest is, if you are waiting for the diagnosis, or you get the diagnosis and that cancer word is just over everything, just know that support that you have and that love that you have from your friends, your family, your coworkers, all those hugs that you get every time somebody hears that you have it, they go, oh, what can I do? All that works in your favor. And just know that that you can keep it in, but you got to talk with somebody. You have to talk with somebody and just get it out of you. Just the anxiety alone, it doesn't make the cancer go away. It may not make it better, but just realize that if you get that diagnosis, you're going to have the initial shock, and then it's just going to take over everything. And just all I can tell you is that just go through it, work it out as best you can. Nobody can prepare you for this. So with that, that is my cancer diagnosis. The doctor told me, hey, you got cancer experience. And everybody that I've spoken to, you've all been amazing. Just the most excellent friends and family. The love that you've shown, the support, that's what you need. And that will go miles and miles to get you where you got to go to treatment. I haven't gotten treatment yet. That's another big story for me. The journey to treatment. Whoa, that's been a difficult path too. It's been very stressful, but overall, it's okay. It's okay. God has a purpose, and I know that I'm going to get through this. But that day, September 7th, 2017, that was the day that changed my life.